Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hey, good evening. It's Rox Burkey. Thank you for joining me. I am so honored this evening to have with me Joseph Carrabis. Not only is he an author of over a dozen novels, he's done hundreds of short stories. He is an interviewer of other authors, and he is a crazy blogger who has these outlandish stories. So welcome, Joseph.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
It is a delight. So, I want to kind of get folks acquainted with you. And I think one of the best ways for you to kind of share that with our listeners is to talk about why you're writing, and I mean the variety that you're writing, just in general.
Okay, why am I writing? Well, I had two career paths I could take. One was an international bon vivant billionaire man of mystery, and the other one is being an author. So I chose the more difficult path of being an author, and that's what happened there. I write because I can't, as it is with so many authors. When I have not written, when I've been at places in my life where I have not written, I have been miserable. So I've always been writing something. Even when I was not officially an author, I would be blogging or something, or writing columns for places. As for what I write, you who have read some of my stuff, I tell people that I write autobiography, and it just happens to get sold as fiction, children's stories. You've read The Augmented Man and you're thinking, he writes children's stories? Yeah, really, I do. Actually, that's how I started. My first sale was to Child Life magazine, believe it or not. But I more than anything else, I write because when I was a kid, single digits years old, my sister, who is 7 years older than me in high school, she was in high school, and she had to do a book report. And the book she chose, for whatever reason, was James Blish's Mission to the Heart Stars.
Oh, wow.
And one night after dinner, this wasn't something that I said, Sandra, tell me about the book you're reading. One night after dinner, I was drying dishes, she was washing dishes, and she just all by herself told me about this incredible story she was reading, and all these characters were doing these things, and oh my, and this was so wonderful, and over here this was, and oh yeah, blah. And I'd never seen my sister that enthralled, that engaged, if we want to use marketing terms. And I'm drying dishes and I'm watching her and I'm thinking to myself, God, I want to give that to people. I want to give that level of passion for what they're reading to people. And my great hope is that I do, and I work at it. I spend a lot of time practicing my writing. It may not seem that way, but I do. So there you go.
Well, one thing that comes out in all of your writing, and I typically follow your blogs, I've read several things. Your imagination is unbelievable.
Thank you.
But one of the most recent books is, I don't know, it's so different from some of your other things, at least the ones I have read, though I know I haven't read everything that you have written.
You should. Yeah.
I know I should. What can I tell you? In my spare time, I will do that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
But The Augmented Man.
Yes.
It is totally masterful.
Thank you.
It really is, the way you put this together. And I want to know where you got the psychological background to do this, because it's incredible.
Well, okay. If people actually look at my LinkedIn profile, and I don't suggest you do, it's kind of boring and dull. One of the things you'll see in there is that in 2010, I think it was 2010, I was selected as an international ambassador for psychological science, and my specialties were trauma, or was trauma. So my training in these disciplines actually began, I would have to say, in the late 1980s. I had already had one career. I was very, very successful at it, and I got bored and tired of it, and the bottom fell out of it. So what the hell? Heck, don't mean to offend your listeners, watchers. And what would really interest me? Few things interest me. The recording stopped.
I don't know why. Hang on.
Did I use a bad word?
I don't think so. Hang on. We're still live on Facebook, so
Oh,
just
okay.
just saying.
Shall I keep on going?
I think we want the recording. Are you recording?
No, no.
Okay. We are still live on Facebook, so I guess let's continue. I
Sure.
don't have a frame of reference.
Okay, well, let's just keep on
I
going.
am that says it's all frozen. Hang on.
I
Yay,
just
there we
start. No, that's me. I'm recording it.
go. Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
go ahead. You speak.
So he's working on another PC trying to figure it out. We can keep talking or we can wait.
Oh, let's keep talking.
Okay.
Either that or we can write notes to each other because we're both authors.
Yeah. So one of the things about the augmented man that really, hooked me, and I'm going to read it because I want to make sure that the readers or the listeners that are in this program get as hooked as I did. And that is your total descriptive capabilities, because in this one small area, you can see and feel almost everything. And then he explodes. It's amazing. So Trailer closed his eyes and sat at the end of the bar where the cigarette burned cheap black formica countertop met the wall. He eased himself into the last stool, tucking into the corner in the dim light, a spider hiding out of sight at the edge of its web. I mean, this guy is like incredible. He's hiding. He's a spider. He doesn't need to be bothered. And man, it's amazing. And I was hooked. Totally hooked.
Good. Thank you. I
The
worked at it.
The Nick Trailer character, what did you pattern Nick after? Was it someone? Is it really your autobiography? Come on now. I want the truth.
Yeah, it is autobiography.
You're amazing.
I would be remiss if I did not say that Donaldson, the other main character,
Right.
He's actually a couple of people mentioned in the acknowledgments. And Trailer is a composite of things that have happened to me in my life and people that when I was in the business, I heard them, they would share with me what they had gone through in their life. And I'm like, wow. I was never, another thing that happens, people who have read the book, read previous versions of it, they want to, where were you stationed? Where were you? I've not ever had combat experience. No, come on, tell me. And then it's kind of funny because one guy who's actually high ranking in the military I said, no, I really wasn't. I wasn't. He goes, okay, you can't tell me. Give me a continent. No, I swear to God. He goes, okay, sure, right, yeah, right, yeah, yeah. But all of the combat, if you will,
Uh-huh.
um, that's stuff I read, stuff that I interviewed people. I interviewed people who had been in combat. My uncle was one of the first, he was in the first wave on D-Day. And he would just tell stories about what he saw and everything else. And I'm like, wow, I'm glad you were there and I wasn't. My generation, I was at the end of the Vietnam War era. I did not get called up, but I remember talking to all those guys,
Yeah.
you know, plus listening to what happened in Desert Storm 2. The information is out there. And I thank you, and I thank other readers who have said you have made this so realistic. I've had people read the helicopter gunship scene, and I don't want to give spoilers, and they've said to me, "When did you learn to fly? Because you got that right." And I'm like, I never flown a helicopter. I did. I actually flew a helicopter once. Susan and I were on vacation in Hawaii. We took a helicopter ride around the islands. And the guy said to me, "Do you want to fly it?" And yeah. So he he let me have the controls. I'm the only person who's backed a helicopter into a mountain. It was impressive. He got the controls back before there was any problem, but it was wow. I didn't realize somebody would do that. And I said, "Hey, glad to be your first, you know. I'm St.
You just
Pauli boy."
wanted an exciting scene for your next story. I know you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So unfortunately, we are up to our first break. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to hear from our sponsors, and then I want to come back and I want to talk some more about this book and what's up next. Stay tuned.
What started as a love letter to her son has become an international love letter for all parents to their children. Now you can read acclaimed author Shanalee Charbonneau's story to your children. When her son was very sick, she calmed him by singing her own song to him. She turned that song into the book, My Mama Loves Me, I'm Her Little Boy. She wrote 3 more magical books for all parents and kids 6 and under. Available at Indie Lecter, Amazon, and all local and national outlets.
Hello, I am the author and poet Denise Bryson. I am the author of The Things That Cross My Mind, Love's Reality, both in book and audio form. I am also noted as one of the best poets of 2011. I have 2 new projects coming up. One is the Blinky series, where Blinky tells us all about our coins and our bills for our children. I also have a book coming out called Say Ye. It's quotes from Denise Bryson, just inspirational and that will help you along the way.
Thank you for watching or listening to this show. Indie Lecter is proud to sponsor this programming. As a thank you for listening or watching, we would like to give you a 10% coupon code that you can use on our bookstore at indielecter.store. Use coupon code VIDEO19. Again, that's indielecter.store, coupon code VIDEO19 for a 10% discount on any purchase. Thank you.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow.
And welcome back. This is Rox Burkey, and I am here with Joseph to continue our discussion about the augmented man. And, you know, you are a prolific writer, and your imagination is unbelievable, but you do have a lot of facts that you call upon, and that's part of what makes this so intriguing. I mean, this is like the best conspiracy theory book I've read in a long time.
Barring yours.
Well, yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. Let's be honest. Come on.
Is this was that your intention when you started it?
To be honest with you, I never actually thought of it as a conspiracy theory book. The whole goal was to actually write a book which would help people coming out of trauma or working through trauma to have, as vain as this may sound, a guidebook. I've had professionals in the field read the through section in the tank section and say to me, this is a thesis book. This is a doctoral study on what to do for trauma sufferers. Thank you. That was the intention. Everything you need to do. There's a lot of people out there who, for whatever reason, are not able to get what has been in their life, get it out so they can heal.
Right.
Maybe they'll pick up the book, because a lot of these people, they do read science fiction. A lot of people who have had this kind of trauma in their life, they read science fiction, they read military, they read thrillers. And maybe they'll read this and identify with Trailer some aspect of his life and go, oh, okay, I need to do this. I need to do this. And here's the next thing I need to do.
Right.
So, you know, my real reason was to make millions of dollars and sell the movie rights. No, I was hoping to help people. And if I sell movie rights, that's good too. You know, I won't turn that down.
I want to come to the red carpet personally. Invite
You're there. You're there, baby.
So I know that I have actually recommended this to several of my friends that actually were stationed.
Bless you.
Well, you know, I like the book. I'm not going to.
You're a good woman.
Thank you. But Trailer he is very compelling.
Thank you.
My heart wept for him during the story. You know, I mean, it really did. This will raise emotions. I don't care what your gender is. If you are an adult and you've been anywhere outside of your living room, then this will mean something to you because there are so many aspects that come in. So I heard you say earlier that you're working on another book.
Yes.
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Actually, it's Empty Sky right behind me.
Okay.
Empty Sky was one of the first books that I self-published, and I thought it was a good book at the time. I believed in it. That was in 2015. And that was also before Susan and I had closed down the company we had created. So it was kind of when I was catching time, I wrote the book. But then when we closed the company, we didn't have any worries, you know, didn't have to worry about pulling in money or anything. So Susan said, I've never seen you happier than when you've been writing. I want you to sit down and write. And I thought about Empty Sky, and I had learned a great deal about writing. As good as I thought the book was, I knew I could write it better, just technically.
Right.
I was not always happy with the ending of the novel. It was a very good ending. It was a good closure. Didn't answer every question that I had. So I decided that I was going to go through it front to back. And if I was going to rewrite it from a technical point of view, fine, which I've been doing. And then, okay, I want to make more closures for these characters. I want to tie up some loose ends, which I knew were in there. Nothing that any reviewer or any reader ever came to me and said, how come this happened? What happened over here? Nobody ever came to me and said, boy, this book sucks. All the reviews have been very positive. Nevertheless, I knew it could be better. I've set out to make it better. And I'm just, to be honest with you, I'm kind of, aside from doing technical editing to it to make the story crafting better, there are scenes coming in now where I'm sitting there typing and I'm looking at the words as they're coming out on the screen. I'm going, oh my God, I didn't know that. And the other day I went to the gym and I had spent the morning writing a chapter where a character that I really happen to like dies.
Ooh.
And I went to the gym. I'm not a tiny person. You know, it's kind of like my Susan says, people know enough to go around you. They would want to bump into you. So thank you, dear. So anyway, I'm at the gym and a friend says, hey, how's it going? How you been? I burst into tears. And he's like, are you okay? I killed a character. And he's like, yeah, okay. I had, no, Walter, I'm okay. I swear to God, I'm okay, Walter. You know, he's like, do you need to go see somebody, Joseph? And I'm like, wow, to get that caught up in a book, not because I'm writing it, but to have that much sympathy, empathy with a character in a story that you genuinely mourn their loss. Oh God, I hope I give that to my readers. I sincerely hope I give that to my readers, because then I know they've enjoyed the book.
Here, I thought you were going to tell me you came home from the gym and they were reborn again. I mean,
no, not yet, not yet. But the thread by which this character dies, I've thought that could be a sequel. That could be a little spin-off over there.
Yeah,
you know.
there you go.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that, you know, people that are out listening probably need to keep in mind. When you have written as much as you have written, and it's that long ago. So 4 years ago isn't desperately long. It's not like decades, but it's long enough if you've been constantly writing where you can improve things. So is that kind of a tip that you might give to those that are, you know, really trying to crank out that first book?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because a lot of people ask me would I review their book and comment on their book, and if they are first-time novelists, I'm very, very hesitant, because it takes a lot. I'm a tough reviewer. I'm a tough analyst. And when I do critique somebody's work at a workshop or something, I always make sure they understand I'm not critiquing you. I'm critiquing this, what you wrote. It's different. It's not you. If you can't separate the two, you cannot be an author. You cannot go out there, because we're going to constantly improve the work. And that is my goal. When I'm working on my own stuff, when I'm helping somebody else, talking to a first-time writer, number one, tell the truth. The Augmented Man is the truth. It's a true story. It is, you know, you might even think of it as creative nonfiction, or creative nonfiction. Is that what they call it these days?
Yes.
Because so much of that is gleaned from what actually happened to myself, to other people in life, other people that I worked with, talked with, whatever.
Yeah.
So you tell the truth.
Yeah.
But then there are two parts to it: storytelling and story crafting. Storytelling, do you have an interesting story to tell? Pretty much everybody has an interesting story to tell. Story crafting, do you tell it in an interesting way? That's where a lot of people are very weak. They don't know how to tell a story in an interest. Oh, this is so exciting. It happened to me. Yeah, but you're not making it exciting to me,
Right.
the reader. So let's work on that. And if I'm working or talking or presenting to new authors, young
Yep.
writers, that's one of the things that I really want them to understand and get, that there's a lot that goes into, you may be the most incredibly natural writer. Michael Jordan was an incredible talent. He still practiced. One of his great lines is, "You don't realize there are 1,000 shots I missed for every one I got in."
There you go. And with that, we're going to take another short break and listen to our sponsors. And I want to come back and talk about where people can find you and talk to you and communicate with you. So stay tuned.
What would you do if you had to put your life on hold to care for a loved one? I'm Charlotte Kenyon, award-winning author of the book, You Have to Laugh to Keep from Crying, How to Parent Your Parents. That was a question I had to ask myself some 16 years ago, and you'll have to ask the same question. I had a father-in-law with dementia, a mother with Alzheimer's, and a dad with Parkinson, all at the same time.
What would you do if you found out everyone on the town council were thieves and murderers? That's what happened in Bandera, Texas in 1873. John Cruder was the marshal, yet he needed to operate outside the law in order to balance the scales of justice. He is the Midnight Marauder. You can find his books on Amazon.com and TopWesterns.com in paperback, digital, and audio. I'm Roy Clinton, and I hope you'll read The Midnight Marauder.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
And welcome back. This is Rox Burkey, and we're back with Joseph talking about what he's been writing and his remaking, essentially, on Empty Sky. But what we haven't really talked about is the other banner behind you, which is the Celestial Campfires. Are we doing something with that?
We're making sales, hopefully. We're, selling books and kicking butt. Tales Told Around Celestial Campfires is a self-published anthology of work that I had published in magazines back when print was king, which shows you how long ago it was. Basically, I mentioned earlier in the interview about the first story that I sold was a children's story. That's in there. That's from 1978. And I was so flattered that someone said I wasn't born then. I mean, thank you. But stories that were published in Pulp House, in Tomorrow Magazine, Zyquill, all over the place, Canadian, US, European fantasy and science fiction magazines. And they're all in there. There's 2 original stories that were not published. The Nebula nominated short story Cimadoce is in there, and the Pushcart nominated short story The Wait is in there. So it's a good blend of fantasy, science fiction, and as one of my editors said, everything you write is about love. It's got love in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's even true about your blogs.
Thank you.
Have a lot of family and a lot of love in them. So, people that want to follow you and connect with you on your blog, where is that address?
The blog is josephcarrabis.com. Simple enough. My name, JosephCarrabis.com. Not to be confused with Joseph Cannabis. No, not really. Even though I'm a child of the 60s, josephcarrabis.com. Just so your listeners and watchers will know, it has both free content and subscriber-based content on it. I try to give a nice blend of both, so everyone has something to read. You can also find me on Twitter, Joseph Carrabis. I'm so inventive with names.
It's so easy that way. Thank you.
Yeah, really. Facebook, Joseph Carrabis. LinkedIn, Joseph Carrabis. Nashua Tire and Radiator Company, Joseph Carrabis.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you have a quote that I've always found very interesting and a total lie. And that you say, "You are too boring and dull."
Yes. And I can
Why
prove
do you say that?
it. Well, number one, I live with myself, so I'm around myself all the time. And after a while, it's kind of like, yeah, what else? I don't think of myself as a very interesting or exciting person, to be honest with you. I'm just me. And I'm always, when people say to me, "No, Joseph, are you kidding? Your life?" And I'm like, why? What did I do? Honest to God, honestly, I believe I'm a kind of boring and dull guy. I stay home. I watch some shows on Acorn TV and Netflix. Yeehaw! I read a lot.
And you write a lot.
Yes.
And I would beg to differ with your assessment. I would challenge anyone who's listening to this particular show as we're getting ready to close down. Go to josephcarrabis.com and read his blogs and subscribe. You will totally enjoy it. And we recommend The Augmented Man. It's an exciting book. It really is.
Yes.
Joseph, thank you so much for staying this evening. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Take care, all.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. Learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.com. Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.com.